Right now, on to the point. The nation's longest government shutdown nearing its end.
At the local level, we just have to be prepared for any possible scenario.
What comes next and how long it could take for America to reopen. Air travel chaos.
We were scared that it was going to delay like a whole day or more.
More flights cut at dozens of airports. Why it's about to get worse. The shutdown is impacting military families across the country as their pay remains uncertain.
I feel like I haven't felt anything in years. I was able to be, human again.
Veterans living with PTSD finding relief from an alternative treatment and going outside of the country to get it.
Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. And today, on the 42nd day of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, an end is in sight. House Speaker Mike Johnson called representatives back to Washington ahead of a key vote scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. It'll be their first time back in session in 53 days. The short-term spending bill funds the government until the end of January. It reverses the administration's firings and guarantees back pay for furloughed workers. But the bill does not extend Affordable Care Act subsidies, the main sticking point of the shutdown. It instead allows Senate Democrats to lead a vote on extending them in the future. Now, 7 Democrats and 1 independent senator voted with Republicans to pass the bill. It now heads to the House, where it is also expected to pass as soon as tomorrow, even though Democrats say that they are not likely to support it.
We're not going to support partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Republicans are actively engaged in ways to form the Affordable Care Act, to reform. Now, with a potential end to the government shutdown, federal workers are expected to get their full paychecks, and SNAP benefit recipients are supposed to receive all of their funds. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shares with us what comes next in distributing those funds, and also how federal workers are planning to transition back into that normal schedule. Right, Jeannie?
Yeah, Alex, Sacramento County officials say they've sorted out CalFresh payments for this month, but December payments are not guaranteed if the government stays closed. And at SMF, TSA workers have been on the job for weeks without pay, waiting to see a check before feeling any relief. If the government reopens, they say it may take some time before things start feeling like normal.
Until we actually see the government fully reopen, funds flowing to people who have been missing them, like our federal workers, we are pushing on as if everything is still closed.
As of Monday morning, Sacramento County officials say everyone who is on CalFresh or SNAP got their full benefits. But with the back and forth in the federal courts, Sacramento County says people who got their funds can expect for it to stay in their accounts.
Once funds went on to someone's EBT card, they could not be pulled back. And so that is our expectation.
County officials say next month's funds are still not promised. And if the government does reopen, there will be a trickle-down effect to the shutdown lasting this long.
That creates a huge problem in households. And so we're making sure that food banks are ready to continue to serve those people. And also, there's a natural influx of people going to food banks leading up to the holidays.
Over at SMF, TSA employees are having a hard time getting back to a normal workflow after going weeks without pay, struggling to make ends meet.
It's going to make it a lot more difficult for you to do your job.
The federal government has promised full back pay to all employees impacted by the shutdown, but they say they'll believe it when they see it, adding that they'll do their best to make sure things resume as smoothly as possible for travelers.
Hopefully this will relieve their stress and get them at working at 100% efficiency. So it might take a little bit of time, but our people are pretty resilient. We'll bounce back pretty quickly.
And if the House moves to reopen the government tomorrow, the government will only be funded until January, but SNAP benefits will be extended for an extra year. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you. And also back to those SNAP benefits really quick. The Supreme Court today extended its order blocking full SNAP payments. When the shutdown ends, food aid payments should resume, and the order will expire just before midnight on Thursday. Now, the government shutdown is weighing heavily on military families across the country. Richland and Geraldine Chan live in Granite Bay, both serving as military police. They work at California State Prison Sacramento out in Folsom. Richland served more than 25 years in the military, including 40 months overseas and a year in Afghanistan. Jaron recently returned from Syria. They are stable, but they say that many around them are not.
The biggest impact it's had is some of the service members that are trying to discharge that do not get all the benefits that they would normally have transitioning out of the military because of the non-essential employees being furloughed.
The White House found funds for the last 2 military paydays, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned the November 15th checks could be in jeopardy if the shutdown continues. Well, 6% of flights were cut today at dozens of major airports. This is due to an emergency order from the Federal Aviation Administration. The cuts are being mandated during the government shutdown to slow air traffic amid limited staffing. Delays and cancellations are only expected to get worse.
Until a deal to end the federal government shutdown is signed by President Trump, airlines must continue to follow the FAA's emergency order to incrementally reduce flight capacity at 40 major U.S. airports, rising to 10% by Friday.
We were scared that it was going to delay like a whole day or more, but luckily it was only an hour. But hopefully this doesn't delay more.
Today, the flight cuts rose from 4 to 6%, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that percentage is actually higher.
The issue here is you saw more delays over the weekend than 4%. And we thought it's better to manage a reduction in flights, to systematically do it, to plan for it, than to let chaos ensue.
Secretary Duffy visited Central Wisconsin Airport on day 42 of a record-long government shutdown, speaking to air traffic controllers who have missed 2 paychecks.
We have some controllers who are put in a very difficult position.
He warned that even when the government shutdown ends, air travel won't resume to full capacity immediately.
I'm concerned that we're not going to have on day one controllers come back into the towers right away.
There have been at least 638 reports of short staffing since the government shutdown began on October 1st. That's more than 6 times as many as were reported on the same dates last year.
We had a 6-hour delay in Houston, and the weather was perfect. It's because the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid.
Still ahead onto the point, a former Navy SEAL is on a new mission, finding healing after war, the unlikely therapy that changed his life. And the cost of saying I do is climbing, and tariffs may be to blame, why more couples are rethinking the big day to save big.
We've got a lot of active weather alerts for wind and for snow. Winter weather advisory in the high country, wind advisory here in the valley. Winter storm on the way. Forecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. A Utah judge denied a redistricting plan by state Republicans that would have reshaped 2 districts. The judge said in her ruling the Republican maps failed to abide by and conform with the requirements of a 2018 ballot measure. The judge did put in place an option that would create a strong Democrat-leaning district that includes Salt Lake City. It gives Democrats more of a chance to gain a seat in a state that has not had Democratic representation in Congress since 2021.
We would like for them to acknowledge they made some mistakes, and we would like for them to say our daughters' names.
Several Texas families are suing Camp Mystic. The 3 lawsuits accuse the camp of housing girls in flood-prone cabins and not following state rules requiring evacuation plans. Camp attorneys say staff did their best once the warnings came through during an unprecedented disaster. And amazing video shows 2 spectacular phenomena happening side by side, called Volnado. This is Hawaii's Mount Kilauea volcano spewing lava 1,000 feet into the air, while right behind it, a tornado-like funnel of dust and ash is seen swirling into the sky.
Well, we're still enjoying mild fall temperatures, but that is definitely not the case for other parts of the country. Some Midwesterners are still digging out after double-digit accumulations in certain areas. Just yesterday, many places recording record low temperatures. That includes Jacksonville, Florida, where it was 28 degrees just this morning. Oh my gosh, Brennan, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but there are some things that are going to be changing here in our forecast as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. And today, like you said, was another very mild day. So just based on these temperatures alone, you wouldn't know that we've got a winter storm just around the corner. Made it to 73 today in Sacramento, 77 in Stockton, 74 Modesto and Jackson, 63 Truckee, and 57 in South Lake Tahoe. Right now, we are in those middle 60s across the valley, mid 60s in the foothills, and mid 40s up in the high country. Tomorrow morning, we're going to continue to have some clouds around. We're going to start off in those low to mid 50s, fairly similar to what we saw today. But still, there's not that pattern change yet. Wednesday afternoon, high temperatures going to be in those low 70s, about 70 in Sacramento, 71 Fairfield and Elk Grove, 72 in Stockton, 74 in Modesto, 70 up in Colusa, 69 in Oroville, 60s and low 70s in the foothills, 50s and low 60s up in the high country. So definitely cooler, but still running about 4 degrees warmer than that average high of 66. Let's look at futurecast, though, because this is going to tell us the story of what is on the way. So clouds through the overnight, clouds through the morning hours, maybe a few peaks of sunshine early, especially in the San Joaquin Valley. But even as we head through Wednesday afternoon, we stay largely dry. Maybe a few light showers out along the coast. That's going to be about it. Mostly cloudy skies to partly cloudy skies in the valley. But here comes that storm. So by Wednesday at about 11 o'clock, you notice showers starting to pop up in the valley. But you see that cold front still off the coast. That's going to bring that heavier rain with it. So now we're into those very early morning hours on Thursday. This is 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Really heavy rain through the Bay Area right along the coast. By 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, that heavier rain starting to push along 505, moving through Vacaville and Fairfield, parts of the Delta. Once we get towards about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning Thursday, then that heavier rain's moving through the Sacramento area, down through the San Joaquin Valley, up through the Sacramento Valley. It's going to be a very messy, very wet commute on Thursday as that front comes in, bringing that heavier rain. But notice our snow numbers continue to trend downward. Snow levels rising. This is going to be looking to be a warmer storm. So we're still going to see snow, roughly 3 to 8 inches, though, even at the pass level. Snow levels now only about 6,500 feet. The other thing that we're tracking is the wind. So we're going to pick this up at about midnight on Thursday. That front starts to come in by 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Now we get these southeasterly wind gusts of about 35 to 40 miles per hour in the valley. Again, this is all during that Thursday morning commute. By 10 o'clock, as that front starts to push in, now we're looking at gusts closer to 40, maybe even 45 miles per hour in the valley. So it's going to be wet. It's going to be windy. That's why I've got that weather impact alert on Thursday. The other thing, too, temperatures don't rebound. We stay near 60, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Governor Gavin Newsom continued his trip to Brazil today, attending the COP30 Climate Summit. He met with more than 100 governors, mayors, and other state and local officials. The governor stressed how California would continue to prioritize green technology while remaining competitive with China.
California is two things: a reliable partner in relationship to this space. I cannot say that for the United States of America, particularly as it relates to the current occupant in the White House. Quite the contrary. This is not about electric power. This is about economic power. And we in the state of California are not going to cede that race to China. We're going to compete.
Over the next couple of days, the governor will continue to meet with world leaders in Brazil about global clean energy options. All right after the break, as we continue to honor veterans today, a new warning from California's Attorney General, the scams targeting veterans and their families, and what you need to watch out for before you become a victim. And how treatments still banned in the U.S. are helping some veterans find relief from invisible wounds of war.
What I love about the parade is all of the kids that are out here that are honoring the veterans.
Well, thousands of people turned out today to honor local veterans all across the region. This is the annual Wayne Spence Folsom Veterans Day Parade that took place just this morning. You can see a lot of cars, floats, entertainment, and of course, flag waving happening there. Oh, and look, some dinosaurs as well. All right, now amid the ongoing veteran mental health crisis across our country, a growing number of our wounded warriors are turning to novel therapies in their mission to find peace. Now, this includes psychedelic-assisted therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder. It might sound like something out of the 60s, and while it's not yet federally legal in the United States, this alternative approach is gaining momentum, including U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs funded research trials. Michael Yoshida brings us the story tonight.
Something that I dove headfirst into and never looked back.
Veteran Navy SEAL Marcus Capone always answered the call.
SEAL Team 10 and Naval Special Warfare Development Group, and multiple combat tours to both Afghanistan and Iraq.
Serving until physical and mental wounds of war took their toll.
Went to see the psych and he said, you know, Marcus, you're the 200th guy that's come in here. I assume it's from going down range, but you know, I really don't know how to take care of this at the moment.
Marcus tried different doctors, medicines, and therapy, but things only got worse until 2017, when his wife Amber approached him with a Hail Mary, psychedelic-assisted therapy.
Honestly, I thought it was crazy.
After research and seemingly out of other options, Marcus decided it was worth traveling outside the U.S. to a clinic in Mexico, where the legal but unregulated psychedelic ibogaine is combined with therapy and medical monitoring.
My life completely changed. I did a 180. I felt again. I feel like I haven't felt anything in years. I was able to be, human again.
This therapy isn't for everyone, and there are different approaches. Some use ibogaine, LSD, ketamine, or MDMA to enhance the effectiveness of talk therapy and help patients reprocess traumatic memories.
Most of our standard psychiatric medications are meant to suppress symptoms. Psychedelics used in this way are not meant to suppress symptoms. They're meant to help people get in touch with and process.
Dr. Barbara Rothbaum has been pioneering PTSD treatments for decades, including an ongoing Department of Defense-funded study looking at effects of combining MDMA with therapy that helps patients gradually confront trauma.
It's not MDMA like kids are going to get in the clubs. People are monitored, they're screened to make sure it's safe for them to take it. They've got a lot of safety conditions, and it's combined with a lot of therapy.
Right now, except for a few exemptions, possession of psychedelics is a federal crime. But the tides may be changing when it comes to medical treatment, with possible support of Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins.
We're opening up the possibility of psychedelic treatment and others that give us an opportunity. We got to research it, make sure it's good.
While several states have passed bills supporting research into psychedelic therapy, it could be years before a federally approved treatment is available.
We shouldn't be fighting a war for our country and then when we come home have to travel outside the country to receive treatments.
And as we continue to honor our veterans today, it's also a time to raise awareness about some scams that often target veterans and their families. Today, California Attorney General Rob Bonta issued an alert about scams and fraud by people or companies who are looking to access their benefits. Now, you can protect yourself by staying up to date on some of these common scams. Let's take a look at some of them right now. We got home loan scams. Be cautious of any person or lender that contacts you and asks you to pay fees up front before receiving any services. Also, of course, never give out personal information to a lender that contacts you just out of the blue. Then there's identity theft and fraud. Some scammers will pretend to be from the Department of Defense or even the VA to get your personal information. Always make sure a request is coming from an official organization. And then pension scams. Veterans 65 and older are targeted by financial advisors, persuading them to buy costly annuities. Only the VA can award benefits. Now, if you believe you have been a victim or target of a scam, you can immediately contact your local police department and also file a complaint with the Attorney General's office. All right, let's get into some of your price points tonight. It may not be as romantic, but skipping a big traditional wedding could really help your wallet. Take a look at this. Over the past 5 years, the price of an average wedding has risen to nearly 20% to $33,000, according to Wedding Marketplace, The Knot. And that was an upward trend that is expected to continue, in part because of the Trump administration's tariffs. Roughly 20% of vendors say charges on non-U.S. countries have caused their prices to go up for items including dresses, rings, and even cake ingredients. Rental car companies are seeing a spike in one-way rentals. It comes during the flight cancellations at major U.S. airports. Rental car company Hertz has reported a 20% rise in one-way rentals. Travelers are renting vehicles as a backup plan to make sure that they reach their destinations. Right after the break, as the government shutdown deepens, the hunger crisis is also deepening, and it's never been greater. How you can help feed local families this holiday season. We'll have the details after the break. All right, before we go here, I want to give a quick reminder. ABC 10, Wells Fargo, and The Athletics are teaming up for our annual Stand Against Hunger campaign, which means now through December 12th, ABC 10 is raising money for 7 local food banks to help feed people in need this holiday season. For a list of participating food banks and also how you can help, you can go to abc10.com/standagainsthunger. As always, thank you so much for joining us and always welcoming us into your home. We hope you have a great night, and don't forget to download the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. I'll see you tomorrow.